an apparent confession. The alleged killer of Charlie Kirk reportedly confessing to the assassination just hours before his arrest. According to the Washington Post, Tyler Robinson posted an online message at 7:57 p.m. on Thursday, telling friends, quote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." Now that message was posted on Discord, a messaging platform that is popular with video gamers, and it continues. He says, quote, "I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been so amazing. Thank you all for everything." Well, 2 hours later, Robinson did surrender to authorities. And the breaking news from the Washington Post comes just hours before the Utah County attorney lays out the charges against Robinson, and just before Robinson makes his first court appearance, which we will all see. The report comes on the heels of a New York Times report with more details about what Robinson was posting to another chat group with about 20 people in it, another group on Discord that happened earlier on Thursday. And it happened actually just after the FBI had released the first grainy images of Robinson, which, you know, when we saw them, I think initial reaction was, look, if you know that guy, you're going to know he's that guy. So an acquaintance of Robinson writes in this group on Discord, according to the New York Times, WYA, which means where you at, along with a skull emoji. Robinson responding within seconds, saying his, quote, doppelganger was trying to get him in trouble. Now, that was reportedly on Thursday afternoon. He was still on the run. This was 24 hours after he allegedly killed Kirk, so it was about 9 hours before he was apprehended. The message continued, at times making light of Kirk's death. Robinson's reported messages are offering now a crucial glimpse into his mindset before and after the killing and what he was doing when he was on the run, right? He's in these chat groups. So in a moment, I'm going to speak to the Washington Post and New York Times reporters who broke these stories. I want to begin, though, with Danny Freeman. He is out front. He is live in Orem, Utah. And Danny, the first court appearance is hours away. So what are you learning tonight?
Well, listen, Aaron, we have learned so much more about the suspect here, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, but it's really been a slow drip over the course of the past few days since that shooting. Well, now Utah officials are promising that tomorrow we're going to be learning a lot more information. A lot more is going to be released to the public, and that's so crucial because so many here in Utah are desperate for more answers.
FBI Director Kash Patel revealing DNA evidence now connects 22-year-old Tyler Robinson directly to the crime scene.
I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
But law enforcement officials are still working to understand what may have driven this young man to allegedly open fire on Charlie Kirk.
We are still conducting follow-up interviews and a lot of investigative leads to determine any relationship that may have played into this, whether that be political or personal or any of those.
Investigators are focusing in on a note that Robinson may have written prior to the shooting that the FBI director says has since been destroyed.
We have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it.
Another area of interest and help to authorities so far has been Robinson's roommate.
The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
Officials are still investigating whether the roommate relationship may have factored into a potential motive. Robinson lived and grew up here in southwest Utah in a conservative family, acquaintances told CNN. And according to the governor, Robinson moved very far left in recent years.
These are the facts that are being presented to us. Family discussions, parents, this is what they're saying.
In Robinson's hometown, his community mourned Charlie Kirk while processing that the suspected assassin was a neighbor.
It's really hard. You just can't imagine someone from around here would do something like that.
Sherry Staley Tate's family has been here for 5 generations and told us Robinson went to school with her daughter.
I said, well, how would you describe him? And she said, I would describe him as, you know, those kids that they're kind of too smart, that they're not common sense smart.
Now, Aaron, I'll also say that community in Southwest Utah also made a point to pray not just for Charlie Kirk and his family, but also for the Robinson family. Aaron, all eyes now here back up in northern Utah on tomorrow, because that's when that first court appearance is expected to take place. Aaron?
Danny, thank you so much on the ground in Utah. Out front now, the two reporters who obtained these Discord messages sent by Tyler Robinson in the hours before he was taken into custody. Hannah Knowles of the Washington Post and Nicholas Bogle-Burrows of the New York Times. Both of these reporters received messages from people in these two different chat groups. And so, Hannah, let's start with this group message that you saw. Robinson confesses in the message you saw to about 30 people in a group. And the quote of the message that you obtained was, "Hey guys, I have news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." Hard to imagine how a group would even react to something like that, whether they would even believe it. I mean, from what you saw, what more can you tell us about what he said in his confession and how people in that group responded?
So Tyler's account on Discord went on to say he was going to turn himself into law enforcement momentarily through what he called a sheriff friend. And then he sort of said goodbye to his friends in a way. He said, "Thanks for everything. Thanks for the good times."
I mean, it's pretty incredible, Hannah, to even think about this, right? I mean, about 30 people the day after Robinson's arrest. I mean, you've been looking at these messages, and you say that a friend wrote in the same group chat that we're talking about here, "While Charlie Kirk's politics were not acceptable to some, I ask that we all say a prayer for him and his family during these confusing times." Now, this is obviously after Robinson's arrest, right, for allegedly assassinating Kirk. So presumably at this point, 30 people now know that this guy in their group is the one accused of doing this. So how would you describe the relationship between Tyler and everyone else in this particular group chat?
Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much of who was in this group beyond that they were friends of Tyler's who interacted with him online on this platform. But yeah, what was really interesting was after Tyler's account posts this on Thursday night, the night after the shooting, the chat just goes silent, and there is no response that night. And then the next day after, Tyler's name is now out in the news, after he's been arrested, a friend eventually chimes in to say, that note you mentioned, basically asking people in the group to pray for Tyler and also to pray for Charlie Kirk and his family.
But there was silence when they find out it's him. And at least in terms of their conversation on Discord that you're looking at, they're not discussing that somebody they knew, somebody in their group is accused of this?
I would imagine some of them were probably talking about it somewhere if they saw that message, but not in that channel.
Right, it's pretty stunning. Okay, so Nicholas, the messages you obtained are sent by Robinson earlier in the day. So this is on Thursday afternoon to a second Discord group of about 20 people. So this is a different group. It's another 20 people. So this is at least 50 people that are having these conversations. I'm just sort of doing basic math. Who knows how many groups? But this is this other group. And it was shortly after the FBI released the photo. So at this point, he hadn't turned himself in. They didn't know who he was. In the group, what you've seen, Robinson's friends start joking that looks like him. And then within a minute, you say that he wrote back, and I quote Nicholas from your reporting, that he posts, "My effing doppelganger trying to get me in trouble." And then you report somebody joked the group should turn him into the FBI to get the reward money, to which Robinson replied from your reporting, "Only if I get a cut." This is incredible stuff, Nicholas. Tell me more about the messages you saw.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is 24 hours after the assassination has taken place. Like you said, the FBI has just released these first sort of grainy photos. And someone who knows Tyler in this Discord chat says, like you said, "Where are you at?" And he responds by basically suggesting that his doppelganger is trying to get him in trouble, making jokes about it. At some point, they made a reference to Luigi Mangione, who's accused of the assassination in Midtown Manhattan. And they told him, "Don't go to a McDonald's." They're sort of joking around with him. And he keeps joking back, saying, "I better also get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around." It's, about 9 hours before he ultimately turned himself in.
Yeah, okay. So then, Nicholas, you've got another message sent around the same time that some news outlets were incorrectly reporting that ammo had been engraved referencing transgender ideology. And you report that Robinson wrote about this, and I quote from your reporting, "I heard the ammo had something about trans stuff on it, but they aren't releasing photos or exact quotes. And also the claim wasn't backed by the official FBI, just some dude in the briefing room." So obviously at this point, it's very clear from this, he's following it very closely, maybe even testing to see how closely others in the group are following it right after they'd seen the images. What was your sense as you look through that and other messages around that time, at this point, hours before his arrest?
Right. I mean, from what he's saying, it sounds like someone who is closely following the news developments of the shooting, who is, discussing it with his friends and sort of just trying to distinguish what is confirmed information and what's not. So it shows that it's someone who's, definitely keeping an eye on this major shooting.